What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So we've talked quite a bit about the all-digital future that we're clearly trending towards in games, and yesterday we had a bit of a scare as people started to realize what could happen if a publisher decides they don't want you to own a game in your digital library anymore. We'll go over all of that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Haven Studios and PlayStation as they have now made that deal official and even given some insight as to why Sony was so quick to acquire them. And we're also going to talk about some massive video game sales that are going on pretty much across the retail space, along with free games you can claim right now. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're going to start today with Respawn and apparently a new single-player FPS that they are working on right now. We can see this post up on Dexero. It says, Respawn Entertainment is working on a new FPS title in the Apex Legends universe, which also happens to be the Titanfall universe, and it appears to be a single-player game. This was actually according to a job listing for a senior engine systems designer on the Respawn website, describing it as Apex Universe FPS incubation title. So something that's still pretty early on. Like, I don't think this would be something that would even be teased like this year, even into next year. So I like the idea of them having Apex Legends as their big multiplayer game, but then building out side projects or stories taking the form as smaller budget single player experiences. Like if you just broke off Titanfall 2's campaign, people wouldn't look at that as this massive AAA experience or anything. It's very, very good, but clearly it was to be packaged with the multiplayer. But I think it could still stand on its own and then also work to just flesh out the universe of Apex Legends, which is clearly very popular for Respawn. So I'd like to see more of this. It just seems like we're going to be a ways off, and who knows, maybe they have some nods towards Titanfall along with it. Also, a few years ago, we had Phantasy Star Online 2 head to the West on the Xbox. It was certainly a surprise during their showcase to just say, hey, Phantasy Star Online 2, it's getting localized and we're dropping it right onto the Xbox free to play. It's something people have been waiting a long time for, and now it looks like their plans to bring it to other platforms in the West is starting to happen. We can see this posted up over on their website saying Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis comes to PlayStation 4 on August 31st. And get this, it will be cross-play for other platforms along with the PS4. So if you're on the PS4, you can play with friends on the Xbox, PC, and all this. And they also say that you'll be able to enjoy content that's released in the past year since the game's launch, which includes the latest update for Frozen Resolution and the new Waker class. This is great, though, for Phantasy Star Online 2, as we heard that they would have plans to bring it to PlayStation, maybe even Switch, and that would be a pretty cool thing to see just for the overall community with Phantasy Star Online 2, the player count, of course, but the fact that you could have people on Xbox, on PlayStation, and on Switch along with PC just kind of all playing together would be good to see. I'm curious if that does end up happening, but at the very least, you can look towards Phantasy Star Online 2 launching on the PlayStation at the end of August. Oh, and of course, we know that in about 2 months, Last of Us Part 1 will be releasing, and it looks like it has now gone gold. We can see this posted up over on the Naughty Dog Twitter account. Thrilled to announce The Last of Us Part 1 has gone gold. Congratulations to the dogs and our partners, PlayStation, who contributed their passion and talent to the growing world of The Last of Us. Not at all surprising this has gone gold. I was not expecting it to get delayed. They seemed pretty confident when they announced it there during Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley. And there's been a lot of discourse and controversy around the price tag for it, but people still seem pretty excited about it. And I'll admit it's a compelling thought to have Last of Us Part 2 with the gameplay and the controls, mechanics, just kind of get put into Last of Us, and then also had the visuals updated, and like it's something that I will be checking out. So I look forward to that one in September. It seems like it's on track again as expected. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away. That all digital future that keeps coming up, and we keep seeing quite a few drawbacks and really what could happen in the future when there is no physical media. And for the most part, the publishers are completely in control with the purchases that you're making. Well, we can see this posted up. This is over on the Steam subreddit, and this really got things rolling along, pointing out a page on Steam for Assassin's Creed Liberation HD. In fact, it says here it will not be accessible following September 1st, 2022, even if you had already purchased it, which sounded like they were going to come in and take it out of your Steam library. And this was frustrating for a lot of people because it had just been on sale for Steam with that summer sale, which, I mean, a lot of people will go through, myself included, and you're looking through Steam and it's like, oh, that game's $1, that game's $2, that might be $3. You sort of stack it in a cart and you're like, this will be really cool, I'll check it out at some point, and then you never do. But Assassin's Creed Liberation HD, while it's not like a great Assassin's Creed game or anything, still it kind of introduces the idea of that. What happens if the publisher has issues with rights holders or whatever's going on, and they say, hey, we can't let you have this game anymore. Do you have the right to get a refund for it, or can you stop them? We were about to find out, at least until Ubisoft started having some comments and updates for VGC, who was reaching out to them. They first started with this one: we don't take the decision to retire services for older Ubisoft games lightly, and our teams are currently assessing all available options for players who will be impacted when these games' online services are decommissioned on September 1st. So we don't really get like a clear answer with that. So they had to come back again, and they said, as stated in our support article, only DLCs and online features will be affected by the upcoming decommissioning. Current owners of these games will still be able to access, play, or re-download them. So obviously that's good news that you won't just have your game taken from your Steam library. You'll still be able to re-download it after it gets delisted from the Steam store, which that part isn't necessarily new. We've seen digital games just kind of get delisted and removed from storefronts. Like Forza comes to mind, which is strange because that is a first-party game that gets pulled out of Game Pass, and that has to do with licensing for cars. And it's not just Forza. We had like Drive Club was another one. That happens with a lot of these car games where they have licensing through different brands for cars, and after a set amount of time, there's no point necessarily in re-upping it because the next Forza game or a newer car game is out. In this case, though, it's a little strange because it's Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed. They had mentioned that they were moving resources to something else, and I don't know, I guess they were like, well, no one's really buying it anyway or playing it. We're just going to kind of pull all this down. And the potential for it being pulled from your Steam library was brought up because it was like listed as such on the Steam store page for this Assassin's Creed game. So we, of course, look towards the digital-physical split being more in favor of digital games, and we assume with these consoles just having digital variants with the PS5 and the Xbox Series S that we could work towards that completely by the next generation with like a PlayStation 6. We're assuming there'll be a disc drive there, but it's possible it'll just be a digital system that releases, just pushing us completely over the edge. So when you see stuff like this and potential for a precedent to be set that they can remove it from your library, yeah, that got people pretty concerned. And that with the idea that Nintendo had their Wii and their DSi stores just down for months and you weren't able to re-download games you had purchased, it's concerning, clearly. So at least in this case, according to Ubisoft, it's just miscommunication. It wasn't they're pulling this out of your Steam library, but still something to consider. And I do have quite a few concerns going forward when it comes to it being an all digital, like, gaming space for our purchases. And I have a feeling this situation will probably come up again here in the near future. Next up, let's talk about PlayStation and Haven Studios. It was a couple months ago where we found out that Sony was going to be buying a studio that had been around for like a year. It's headed by Jade Raymond, and a lot of us were wondering, okay, what are they working on that made Sony drop everything and go, oh, we need to acquire them, bring them in the PlayStation Studios family? Well, first, they have now made it official. We can see this over on Twitter from PlayStation. It's official. The agreement to acquire Haven has closed. Welcome to the PlayStation Studios family. Now, after this had gone live on Twitter, there was an interview that was posted up on gamesindustry.biz. And there's a lot of information here. You're going to want to go through it. It gives us some insight potentially as to why PlayStation is so interested in Haven. Now, first of all, they have been hiring up a ton of employees. They're now over 100 employees total. So as mentioned, gamesindustry.biz, not much of an indie studio anymore. Of course, also becoming part of PlayStation Studios. But a lot of what they focused here on, seemingly what attracted PlayStation, is some of their work, yes, in R&D, but also in the way that they are developing games using, or at least leveraging, cloud technology. In fact, they mentioned they have zero IT in the studio because we've automated everything in the cloud. There are things like that where we're already seeing the payoff, and that's why we've decided to invest more. It goes on to say it's this approach that has caught the attention of PlayStation's other studios. Haven CTO has been speaking to Sony's other teams about what it has been doing from a technical and cloud perspective. So Haven is already helping other Sony studios, I guess, become more efficient and leveraging the cloud for development. So we kind of talk about what they are working on, which sounds like a live service game. That's what's been mentioned here. But the idea that they could be brought in for maybe their expertise when it comes to remote work and cloud computing in development that could cut down on some of the development time that we've seen just kind of balloon over the last few generations. I mean, that would be extremely valuable to Sony to kind of lock up and bring into the PlayStation studios. But then take a look at this. This is from Jade Raymond saying, so Mark Cerny is one of the main reasons we're investing so much in R&D and in this very senior engineering team. It's not just tied to cloud, but also some more forward-thinking R&D. I'm not able to say too much now, but that's obviously one of the other things that's been a big attractor and is exciting to our team with PlayStation. Of course, Mark Cerny is kind of like a rock star too, so being able to collaborate with him is really exciting. So they've caught the attention of PlayStation Studios for development, but also Mark Cerny, who was lead system architect for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. He's collaborating with Haven Studios on some sort of forward-looking R&D. Like, I am very curious as to what Haven Studios is working on, because I assume a lot of this is going to show through with whatever their live service game is. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff. And hey, if they have somehow, this smaller studio, come up with a way to be more efficient in the development process so they can cut down on things like crunch and even just the cycle for development that is continuing to get larger and larger. Like, could we get to a point where we have 7 or 8 year development cycles, like where these big studios at these big companies only put out one game a generation? That is kind of the issue that we're running into now. It doesn't seem to be slowing down. So hey, they've come up with a way to do that, and we can see a compelling game from them using this technology. I'm all for it, but it sounds like it'll probably be a little while since they just formed in 2021. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about massive gaming sales that are going on right now. And for the most part with retailers, they're just competing with each other and making things up. Like Best Buy has Black Friday in July. So Amazon follows with their own sales. Target has sales right now. We'll go over some of those here, but Amazon does have Prime Day. And along with that, they have games that are set up if you're a Prime member with them to just claim on your PC. Like, take a look at this list here. You're going to want to claim these now, basically, if you're a Prime member, because they're only available from the 12th to the 13th. But we have Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which that's pretty good. You just claim it, you get it, there you go. Grid Legends, Need for Speed Heat, Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast, and Star Wars Republic Commando. Now, on top of that, they have several other games that are available now, which will be available until the end of Prime Day on the 13th. So extend out about a day or so longer. And again, a pretty large list. These are like smaller titles, but you still have like The King of Fighters 2000, 2002, Metal Slug 2, Pumped BMX Pro. There you go. Hey, Samurai Showdown 2. Not too bad. So, I mean, there are at least games you can pick up here and just claim. And you know what? You might as well claim as many of them as you want. Like, just claim all of them because they're at least free and they're part of your Prime membership, so you might as well. But on top of the sales that Amazon is currently running for Prime Day, Best Buy has like their Black Friday in July, which also includes several electronics. So, I mean, I guess if you're shopping around for a new TV or something, might as well take a look there. But in terms of games, these are all physical copies that you can pick up in-store or order online, have delivered. I'll start with Cruisin' Blast at $20, Ni no Kuni 2, $20. GTA 5, that's on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X at $20. Kingdom Hearts All-in-One bundle, that has like, I think most of the Kingdom Hearts games right there. That's $25. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga at $45. Trials of Mana, $20. Dying Light 2 at $35. Nier Replicant, $20. Yakuza Like a Dragon, that one's $21 on Xbox. It appears to be $30 on PS5. Final Fantasy X, X-2 is $17. That one's on like clearance, so it has a bit more of a discount on top of what's already there, but $17 for that on the Switch is pretty good. Shin Megami Tensei 5 at $40. Then we have Age of Calamity half off at $30 and Skyward Sword at $35. Then if we move over to Target, who is running a sale alongside of Best Buy, Final Fantasy VII Integrate, this is on the PS5, at $30. Paper Mario on the Switch at $40. Hades, $20. Far Cry 6 at $25. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, that's on the Switch at $10. Balan Wonderworld, always looking out for Sean on this one, $16. Demon Slayer at $40. MLB The Show, $22 down to $30. And then Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. If you've been curious about this at all, it's $60, so it is marked down pretty well. And the list of different games on sale along with hardware goes on and on and on and on. I mostly just want to bring up some examples and the fact that there are so many gaming sales happening right now. I mean, if you're a Prime member, you may as well claim all those different games, especially something like Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Even if you don't have like a PC that can run it now, you may at some point in the future, so you might as well add it to your library, but definitely take a look around and let me know if there's any big time deals that I missed down in the comments. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday. We're asked, after almost 2 years, how do you feel about the move to $70 video games? 13% said it hasn't bothered me. 38% said it's annoying, but I'll wait for a sale if needed. And then almost half said I'm not happy about it and refuse to buy games at that price. And I believe it is subjective, like completely. A game may be worth 70 to you, but not to someone else, and vice versa there, right? But I do kind of look at this move from 60 to 70 as something that has actually gone on in terms of conversation longer than I thought it would. Like back when we went from 50 to 60, people talked about it, but it was kind of done after maybe a month or two. Although we didn't have social media like Twitter then like we do now, right? But I guess maybe the difference between PS2 and PS3 or Xbox to Xbox 360 was more obvious than it is now with PS4 to PS5 or Xbox One to Xbox Series. Either way, I think we'll get to a position where all third-party companies and even first-party companies like Nintendo, they just have $70 games. And then, hey, later on, I'm sure we'll move to $80 and we can do this all over again. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Sister saying, as I get older, I find I actually appreciate the way you just give a ton of gaming news in a rapid, straight up way. Look at this. The comment was so good, the real Spawn Wave, which let's say you know is the real one, responded with, congratulations, you have won 2 presents. Then there's 2 circus tents for some reason, some hearts, then asking you to text them. Obviously, don't text them. The spam comments are just really accelerating recently, even with like some of the stuff that YouTube did in the back end of it to help it. It's still just all over the place. Anyway, the actual comment though, I've been trying really hard to get it underneath of 20 minutes and just go through 7 topics if I can. Today was like one less because of the sales and everything. But from what I've learned, going from too many games and talking to many of you, I end up being like the commute on the way to work in the morning. So that works for me. If I can get you a bunch of information condensed down into about 20 minutes or so ahead of going to work, I'll take it. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here. Today was the all-digital future and the potential for these publishers to pull games out of your library. At least we got some updates yesterday, but I think that's something we'll be revisiting here, I'm sure, in the future. And then also, what about Haven Studios? What do you think they're doing over there that Sony decided they got to pick them up immediately? And then all of the game sales going on at these different retailers and Amazon. Let me know some of your best picks down below. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.